Hello everyone, welcome to our playlist that is food processing waste management. So in the previous myself Syed Abdul, working as assistant professor under Techuptri at Harcourt Butler Technical University Kanpur. So in the previous lecture we have discussed various types of waste that are produced from food processing industry, such as liquid waste, solid waste and hazardous waste. So in this section we are going to see the strategies or methodologies involved in the management of the food waste. So food waste management slash treatment. Particularly in this lecture, we will see solid waste management. In next lecture, we will see liquid waste management. So how or what are the methods available or developed to manage the solid waste or treat the solid waste that is generated from food processing industries, or you can say food waste. So solid waste management. For the methods of solid waste management, Environmental Protection Agency, that is EPA of India, conducted a study on food waste and proposed methods by which they can be managed according to this study. What are the various methods? Are solid waste can be managed by food donation, donating the food that is leftovers, animal feeding, feeding it to animals, rendering. So rendering is process which is mostly used for animal foods, animal fats to prepare or produce tallow, grease type of foods. Composting, which is anaerobic digestion, aerobic digestion, liquefaction, hydrolysis, gasification, pyrolysis, briquetting, and incineration. So this aerobic digestion, anaerobic digestion, liquefaction, hydrolysis, gasification, pyrolysis, briquetting, incineration, all these are conversion techniques. They convert your solid waste into a usable form so that it can be used for other purposes. The first method of management of solid waste is your food donation. Non-perishable foods or unspoiled perishable foods can be donated to local food banks, soup kitchens, pantries, and shelters. So here the food should be non-perishable. If it is perishable, we should check whether it is spoiled or not. So if it is unspoiled, then we can donate it to local food banks, soup kitchens, pantries, and shelters. Food banks donors typically include manufacturers, grocery store chains, food service entities, restaurants, wholesalers, and farmers. So these are various donors who usually donate food. So there are concerns also while food donation. Liability concerns and transportation limitations are the most commonly noted barriers to food donation. Specifically, as we know, we lack in cold chain management and transport vehicles at a particular temperature required for the safe transport of food. Specifically, transportation costs, lack of refrigerated trucks and drivers, and chain of custody issues in case of recall were noted. So, if there is any recall is noted for the donated food, so there may be regulatory actions taken against the manufacturers of food service entities or grocery store chains who donated the food. So, these are various risks associated with this food donation. So, these are also the limitations of food donation. So next method of treating solid waste is using it as an annual feed. Depending on the proximity of food waste generators to local farms or juice, it may be viable to recover discarded food as feed for livestock. So it can be used for livestock, but sometimes we should take care because solid waste such as coffee or foods with high salt content can be harmful to animals. So care should be taken there. Okay, while using solid waste as a animal feed, and we also need to check whether the feed solid waste doesn't contain any hazardous compounds. Okay, now let's come to the rendering. So food waste composed of animal byproducts, fats, and oils can be rendered into saleable commodities such as high protein meat, tallow, or grease. So rendering is the process which converts this animal byproducts, fats, and oils into edible as well as inedible saleable products which have commercial value, like high protein meat, tallow, or grease, which are used in the production of animal feed. So these can be used in the production of animal feed such as high protein feed, soap, paints, and varnishes, cosmetics, explosives, toothpaste, pharmaceuticals, leather textiles, lubricants, biofuels, and other valuable products. So rendering is a very important process with respect to the management of solid waste generating from the animal processing industry, especially meat and poultry processing industry from slaughterhouses. So rendering can be accomplished by using edible rendering processes or inedible rendering processes. So if the end product of the rendering process is edible, it is edible rendering process. If it is inedible, it is inedible rendering process. Edible rendering plants are typically operated in conjunction with meat packing plants and produce edible fats and proteins. So edible rendering process plants yield lard and edible tallow, which are used for edible purposes, while inedible plants produce tallow or grease. Inedible rendering is accomplished using wet or dry processes. So in wet inedible rendering process, which separates the fat from raw materials by boiling in water, simply cooking in water. Dry rendering dehydrates the raw material to release the fat. So if you discuss this rendering process is a completely big topic, so we are not going to discuss in detail right now the various rendering processes of animal byproducts, fats, and oils. We can discuss during the later course of our subject, that is food processing waste management, right? So another method of managing solid waste is your composting. We all know composting is an aerobic process that decomposes the organic material into nutrient rich soil amendment. After composting the leftover soil can be used in landfills or can be used for gardening purposes. Types of composting include backyard or on-site composting, vermicomposting, aerated window composting, aerated static pile composting, and in-vessel composting. So if you look at the composting process or details of the composting process, there are various number of bacteria, around 80% of bacteria, 80% of the organisms responsible for composting are bacteria. The remaining are fungi, including eels and yeast and molds. Yeast and molds. So in bacteria also, initial stages of composting is done by mesophilic bacteria, which converts or break down these organic materials. During mesophilic bacterial digestion, there is increase in temperature around 45 degrees centigrade. So at 45 degrees centigrade, mesophil bacteria will stops breakdown, and thermophilic bacteria take over the breakdown of these organic materials, and temperature may rise up to 65 degrees centigrade while decomposing the organic material. So we need frequent turnovers of the frequent turnovers while composting, so that sufficient oxygen is available for composting. So that is why there are different types of composting techniques, which include backyard or on-site composting, vermicomposting, aerated window composting, aerated static pile composting, and in-vessel composting. Now we'll see conversion techniques. So I said conversion techniques, they are converting the solid waste into usable form. Possible conversion technologies are anaerobic digestion. So anaerobic digestion, we know in presence of oxygen, uses bacteria to break down organic matter in an oxygen free environment. Aerobic digestion uses microorganisms in the presence of oxygen to oxidize and decompose organic materials. Liquefaction converts solid food waste into liquid effluent that may be discharged into the municipal wastewater system. So this is further conversion of your solids into a liquid by using bacteria liquefaction. Hydrolysis, this process break down organic waste. Mostly in hydrolysis we use celluloses which break down cellulose in organic matter. to glucose, which can be fermented to ethanol. Gasification converts organic materials into carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide by reacting the material at high temperatures around greater than 70 degrees centigrade. With a controlled amount of oxygen and steam, we convert the solid waste into gas. A mixture of gases which contains carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. Pyrolysis is the heating of organic material in the absence of oxygen, resulting in the decomposition of the organic material into gases and charcoal. Briquetting, this process forms processed waste into chunks of renewable fuel, which can be fed into boilers and used for industrial cogeneration. So here the solid waste is pressed into a form of briquettes, and these briquettes are used as a fuel in boilers or in sometimes in cookers. So here I have discussed briefly about this anaerobic digestion. In anaerobic digestion, bacteria break down organic feedstocks in an oxygen-free environment. So the equipment where anaerobic digestion is taking place is known as digester. So digester can be used to digest food waste alone, or it can be co-digested with biosolids at wastewater treatment plants. So mostly co-digestion taking place right now at food processing industries. So where we add another amount of biosolids at wastewater treatment plants and use supplement manure at farms. So after anaerobic digestion, the remaining digestate is used as a manure at farms. While facilities that digest only food waste are not widespread and data about them are limited, co-digestion of food waste with biosolids and manure is becoming more common. Digestate from anaerobic digestion can be land applied as a soil amendment or composted. Digestate is also often landfill. Digestate is the leftover after anaerobic digestion, which can be used for soil amendment or simply landfilling purposes. So, these are the various methods identified by the Environmental Protection Agency for proper management of waste. So, in the next lecture, we will see management methods available to manage the liquid waste arising from the food processing industries. Thank you.